Welcome to the Non-Sequitur Show. Continual watching beyond this point may result in terminal face palming and a complete loss of wokeness. You have been warned.
Welcome to the Non-Sequitur Show. Not going to be a long episode, and I'm not going on camera today. I'm super wired on caffeine and aspirin just to make it through this, but I wanted to talk about this topic, and I think I can make it through about an hour. People know that I'm not in best of health right now. People are well aware of this, but I'm going to make the most of it, and I think I can pull. I think I pull an hour at most. At least the aspirin will start kicking in. I took it about 20 minutes ago, 325 milligrams. So whatever that comes out to be. Anyways, you want to hear about that. You want to hear about the topic tonight, because I think we got an interesting topic that has been all over the internets. And I think there's some discussion to be had on there. I think there's some interesting discussions to be had on there. And I brought back on Jessica Gill. If you remember her, she came on last time to talk about, well, actually a debate with Andrew Wilson. And I didn't think it went that bad. I know you're still kind of like, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was, at most it was just kind of, it wasn't like the most dumpster fire of anything, but you didn't do bad. You didn't do bad. So stop beating yourself up for that. Okay.
Yeah. I'll probably never live that one down in my own head, so.
You know what? You live and learn, and hindsight's 2020, and each time you get progressively better. But the fact to me remains that you're willing to come on and talk to one of the, I mean, he's a good debater. I mean, he really is. And the fact that you're really able to do that, I think that's huge props to you.
Yeah, he is, he's really good at, what am I trying to say? Oh my gosh. He's just really good at like tearing people down. Like that's I've watched him on the whatever podcast, and he just literally decimates people. And it seems to me like he enjoys it. I don't mean to, he's not a evil person, but yeah, just
no, he does. I think he is a professional, debater. He's a contrarian. But he has his own views. But the fact that he even said that I could even moderate blood sports and I could handle my own, that I appreciate it. He knew that, I've been around a little bit because I like to talk about these types of topics. And I think I try to come at them at a very objective point of view. These are sensitive topics. I did put a warning at the beginning of this. Like I always put in a warning on these type of topics. If these types of videos are not for you, don't watch them. Simple as that. I mean, it's so funny too, Jessica. I was telling you before, I literally had people come into my comment section saying, because I referred to you obviously as she because you're transgender, and they said they kept on trying to change to you mean he. I'm like, I just blocked them, and I'm like, I'm not even dealing with this. I'm so disgusted by people not being able to understand people that are actually transgender that have dysphoria than people like we're going to be talking about in this Planet Fitness situation, because I think they're completely and utterly different. And that's why I respect you, and that's why I'm friends with you, because you are who you are. And I absolutely adore you for that. I do.
Thank you.
So before we get started, people, they want to like get reminded of who you are. You want to like give a quick bio there?
I am Jessica Gill, go by Aunt Jessica on YouTube, because everybody says I look like their aunt, and I literally do look like a million ants that are running around the world. So, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I transitioned about 9 years ago. I've been on drugs. I've had multiple surgeries, and I'm living what I consider to be my best part of my life is because I'm happy now. I'm not an angry person. But you know, the transition, I'm not going to use those words like saved my life, but it did change my life to be more positive and as a positive influence in life. And um, my main advocacy is for protecting women's sports and women's spaces, prisons, bathrooms, stuff like that. And that's what I go for the most, is just to try and protect the women. I try not to make it about myself, because I do get that. A lot of people are like, why don't, you know, or a lot of people will say, you know, Jessica, makes you look bad, you know, every time there's this issue that we're about to speak on. It does make me look bad, but I think I'm past that point in my life where I don't want to say like I don't give a but you know, I don't care what people perceive me as or how they see me. I mean, deep down inside, yeah, it bothers me. I'm not going to lie, but I can't change the way people perceive my, you know, like in the Andrew debate that I had.
Yeah, you're never going to convince him of anything. It's just not going to happen, right?
And I agreed with him on the things he said about, you know, my lifestyle, but I disagree with him saying that me simply existing means that I am advocating for being trans, when everyone who knows me close and personal will, and I said this on the podcast, I am the last person you want to send your kids to, or anybody wants to come to me and say, how should I transition, or what steps do I want to take, and what's the line? I am not that person. I'm not that one. Like, I will talk you out of it as fast as possible.
Yeah,
so,
you know, and it's funny you say that, because it is remarkable that people think just because you're a certain position that you're all of a sudden an advocate for everything. Like, for example, you know, people think that I'm promoting agnosticism everywhere. I'm not. Just because I'm the unholy pope of agnosticism, people think that I'm literally out there, hey, go agnosticism. Not happening. Just because you're transgender doesn't mean that you have a fight to convince everybody else that they're transgender, or you have any advocacy in it other than your position, because you were a professional athletic person. You were professional, you were not some amateur. You were a big name in the sport. People knew who you were. And so you have a vested interest in that. Yeah, look at that.
That's
there you go. Yeah,
right there.
No BS.
All those trophies.
She is legit when it comes to this BMX motocross. I mean, full on knew what she was doing. And so you have a vested interest in that. And so I think that's important to have that voice in there, because it's somebody who speaks from experience, not just as somebody who's transgender, but somebody who's involved in sports as well, or physical fitness, as the case we're talking about with Planet Fitness. So with this Planet Fitness, let me give a quick 2-minute rundown of that, and then you kind of like tell me what you think of it, because this has happened before with Planet Fitness. This is not the first time this happened. People know that Planet Fitness has a very inclusive policy. You are what you believe you are. Anybody can use anybody's restroom or things of that nature. Why they don't have 3 restrooms, I don't understand. Most people have figured out, hey, look, we could have men, women, and then, you know, things for family, like a family area, or transgender, or this, you know, anything, a communal. Because in other countries, most bathrooms are communal anyways. You literally go to the bathroom next to a female. Nobody freaking cares. Right? It's not even an issue in some countries. This is the only country that seems to give a crap about that. But I do understand with children, right? That I do understand. And so
that I didn't know about the other countries, but I don't doubt it.
Oh yeah, it's not. There are so many communal things in other countries. There's not even an issue. But this was a situation where this person who was in the bathroom identified as LGB, but not as trans. It was just literally a full-on man shaving in the Planet Fitness restroom, in the women's restroom, with a 12-year-old and a towel not far from them. This is why I think it took flight. So somebody had, her name is Patricia. She took a picture of this guy. Again, not trans. He never claimed to be trans. I've never seen anywhere he claims to be trans, just gay or LGB. Because his own words, he was LGB, which is lesbian, gay, or bi, not trans, not QT. And she got banned. She got banned from Planet Fitness. She lost her membership. And so there's been a huge push to cancel Planet Fitness's memberships. There has already been a $400 million loss of stock evaluation with them. Yeah, $400 million. That's huge.
Yes. That's Bud Light.
Bud Light was 1.4, I think it's come out to be 1.4 billion. 1.4 billion,
Really?
I think, was the last thing I saw. Yeah, that's and they're still recovering. Now they made it up
I
through
think
other beers, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the reason for the whole uproar actually, honestly, was because of the lady's name. I forgot. Patricia getting her membership revoked. Like, I think that sparked it because I had seen this picture. This isn't new. Like, this picture was circulating, I swear, almost 6 to 8 months ago. And I mean, I could be wrong, but
no, that was a different. I think that
nobody
was a
seemed to
one.
care.
That was a different.
Well,
instance.
there is an issue back in September 21st of 2023. There was a 15-year-old boy caught exposing himself to a woman or a younger girl in a Planet Fitness
I think I
locker room.
that.
Like, and that guy got arrested. So that was just a kid, like a regular teenager wearing a beanie, looking all gangster, and I just was like, okay, like, doesn't look trans at all. And I don't mean to stereotype his looks. I'm just saying he didn't look like he was putting any effort to be trans. So, and that's where I think the liberal media might have pushed this original story down because Patricia didn't get canceled or didn't have her membership revoked quite yet. Maybe that's the timeline I'm off on, but
I'm not sure when.
Either way,
I think she got her membership revoked quite rapidly, actually, quite immediately.
After the thing, yeah.
I don't know the exact date this happened. I know it happened in Alaska. Of all places, right? Yeah, of all places. You think Florida, right? Everything happens. Everything happens in Florida.
Yeah, Florida man, totally.
Yeah, that's right. There was a 15-year-old. Well, this one. Let's see. This okay. There was an incident in Georgia of this happening as well. Exposing himself to a 15-year-old girl,
Yeah.
So let me ask you, there are going to be people that take advantage of these ultra liberal and inclusive types of situations. And unfortunately, it harms the people that just want to go pee, right? They just want to be left alone. This is why I've made such a distinction between the people that are actually transgender and then people that are actually going out of the way to use these types of situations for their own weird proclivities. And they do exist. They do exist. And this guy, who was a guy who says he was, I guess, like I said, gay, not even trans, he was completely using that for his own whatever reasons to use the bathroom there. And I can understand why you would not want somebody like that around a 12-year-old child. And again, my whole thing has always been about the kids, right? How does it affect the kids? If somebody who is just trans, and it was, a female going, I don't think most people really care. Those are not the people that are causing harm. These are not the people that are exposing themselves, right? And I think it really harms the trans community when they don't differentiate between the autogonophilias or autogonophiliacs and the pedos, I guess. I mean, I don't know what else to call them. The people that just,
go ahead. So to touch on, to start with what you said, like, why is this person in there? Now, he's not claiming trans, but he's claiming to be a member of the community. Now, that doesn't sit well with me at all. Either way, whether he's trans or not, for me, it's about, are you putting in the effort, and are you self-aware? Are you aware of yourself? Are you aware of how you present and how other self-perception? Sorry, that was the word I was looking for. So are you aware how other people perceive you? Because if you're not, you need to be. And the fact that this man that Patricia took the picture of, he is aware of how people perceive him. He just wants to be there because he probably is. I don't think this man is an autogynephile. I don't think he's a pedo. I think he's just a pervert. And I think he's I
agree with you on that. I think there's something clearly wrong there.
I would say he's probably just doing this for spank bank material, if I'm allowed to say. He's just
if he's gay. Assuming that he is gay,
he's
why would he?
He's not.
Oh, you don't think he is?
No, why would he be in the women's room? If he was gay, he'd be in the men's room checking out the boys.
His words were he was LGB, not TQ, but LGB.
I think,
so I don't. Again, I could be again cross-dresser or something. I don't know if it.
Okay,
something's
as,
off
as
there,
somebody,
you know.
Okay, so I've been involved in the community almost all my life. Like whether I only transitioned 9 years ago, I was in the community as a teenager. So I know what I'm looking at. I don't have the greatest gaydar when it comes to women. I have a terrible gaydar. When it comes to men, I'm pretty good with the gaydar too. But so this man, if he was gay, he would be, scoping out boys in the men's room, and he's not trans. Obviously, I know that. He could be an autogynephile because of the second picture that was released of him where he's wearing nylons, pantyhose, I think, and a skirt.
Yeah, I saw that one.
So that's what we call a cross-dresser, or I call them weekend warriors. There's, unfortunately, I live in Vegas. There's a million of those here, and a lot of people travel here because it's a way to escape their family life, and they can dress how they want. They can dress up like a girl and do their fetish thing for the weekend and then go home back to their wife and kids. Well, look, they're doing that. But
if somebody's a cross-dresser and they want to fly their freak flag in Vegas or whatever, nobody should give a crap. I'm all for rights. I am all for adults doing what the hell you want. I couldn't care what a person wears. I really don't.
Let me stop you on that part right there. Okay, I know I said
shoot me down here. Come on, what are you going to say?
No, just listen. So I know I said I try when I'm fighting for women's privacy spaces and sports, I try not to make it about me, but I am going to make this about me. And yes, this is me gatekeeping a little bit, but I don't want these autogynephilias coming to my state just to cross-dress for the weekend. They wear this exuberant makeup. They look like a drag queen.
It looks pretty
it looks terrible. Yeah. And they act a fool. I've got a community of actual trans girls here that have called several of these people out for going to bars that we might go to a public establishment and act like an idiot, dressed in drag.
You have a valid point.
And
they make you look bad. They make the trans look bad.
I don't want them coming to Vegas and flying their freak flag. Like, do that in your own hometown. Like,
no, you make
if you're afraid of getting caught by your wife, that's your problem. You deal with it.
I mean,
I sacrificed everything in my life to be who I am, and I'm not going to change.
Oh, this is a great point though, because you make a very valid point. Okay, you really do, and you have to balance people's individual freedoms against how they affect other people. And I think would you agree if they maybe were just cross-dressing but they weren't acting the fool, it wouldn't be as bad, because but they're going to places acting the fool, which makes the entire community look bad.
Yeah, I mean,
because drag has been around forever. People just went to drag. People just dressed in drag. Why would anybody care?
Yeah, it's fine if they want to, go to a nightclub and they're dressed like a drag queen. That's good. But like, I've had all my neighbors know who I am. They know me. They see me going to work every day. And hi, Jess, this and that. And my roommate might have some friends over that are cross-dressing, and they're dressed like total prostitutes leaving my house. And it's my neighbors come over and they're like, "What the fuck was that?" And I'm like, they're wearing these mini skirts and these heels, and it's just, there's a time and place for everything. And,
I get that.
Me going to work on a Sunday night, that's not,
well,
did you
ever see this executive in the UK? I think he's a barrister or lawyer with something, but
I did see that.
Yeah. He dresses from the top up in a business suit, but skirt the way down, waist down. And it's kind of hard to take somebody like that seriously. I get that,
yeah.
But so, I mean, I totally get what you're coming from. I really, really do. It's just I'm so much into freedoms that I think people should be able to dress any way they want. But I think it's the actions.
I know, and I got a little angry.
No, you have a right to.
I can see it in my face when I'm talking. I was like, Jessica, I don't want them here.
Jessica, they're making the trans community look like fools, and this is what's frustrating, because I have always supported gay rights. I've always supported the actual trans people that have legitimate gender dysphoria, not the onogotophiliacs, not the pedos, not those. The actual people that are trans, I 100% feel for them. I can imagine, or can't imagine what it'd be like to have that dysphoria, and so I support that because it's a medical condition, right? But the other ones, the dishonest agents, like this person that was in the restroom for Planet Fitness, that's not an honest agent. The people like, the Riley Gaines has fought against, like Leanne Thompson, and all them. Those are not, to me, honest agents, because they are literally abusing the system in order to take advantage of situations to promote their own self. They're not giving a damn about anybody else. They're not caring about women. They're not caring about children. They only seem to be interested in themselves. And I can understand why that could, look bad for the whole community. But I'm glad to see that more trans people are standing up and saying, enough, stop this. It's not just you and Blair White anymore.
Yeah, we have a small army of, there's the Blair White army. Those are just people who follow her and support her. But we have a small army with me, Sarah, Country Space. These are all names on Twitter. Sarah Higdon, Country Space. There's a few others, but yeah, and we're all on the right. And, unfortunately in Twitter, or X, I guess, like I said to you earlier,
I'm always going to call it Twitter. I'm sorry, I can't do this.
Twitter, me too. Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, we call it.
We're kind of echo chambering ourselves on X or Twitter, and I need to reach the other side, and I can't. And that's
what is the other
unfortunately.
Side,
so yes,
what is the other side?
The liberal media side, the one that the left, the progressives, I guess I would say, or the queer community.
Well, you've got channels out there that do that. I mean, Blair has a huge audience. Riley has a huge audience, and you know both of them.
But they're both the only people they're contacting are the people on the right. The echo chamber that I speak of, and I wish I could get my voice heard in other circles other than my own, so, but I'm, I will admit I was slacking on my own YouTube channel lately. So I'm glad you invited me on tonight. It feels good to get back on camera. It's been a while.
I enjoy having you on. And this is so funny because again,
thanks.
Recently I had somebody who I don't know very well. They're trying to say I was transphobic, and I told you about this. It's like, serious. I was like, serious. And this is what I'm saying. The people can't differentiate between honest people that are just wanting to talk about the topics and the differentiate between people that are transgender and the dishonest actors. Then who needs them? All they're doing is just throwing out the pejoratives out there. Oh, you're a bigot. You're trans. You got labeled a TERF. You.
Yeah, I did.
How radical do you have to be to label a transgender person a TERF? Just because they stand up for women's rights in athletics.
Yeah, they call me a bigot, a TERF, and to a point, I am about trans exclusion because that's what it stands for, trans exclusionary. I can leave out the radical feminist part. That's not really me. I'm not a feminist, obviously. I think a feminist needs to be a female, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
Way off based on that.
Yeah.
I get tired of seeing males that identify as a feminist. I'm like, you're just trying to do that to get
beta,
to get in their pants, maybe. But
it's called beta.
So I am a trans exclusionary, minus the radical femme, but whatever, radical femmes don't like me either. So
yeah, it's funny you mentioned
when it comes to
okay, let's go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. When it comes to prisons and rape shelters, and sports, you're dang right. I'm going to exclude trans people. They don't need to be there. There's no reason for them to be there. This bathroom issue with Planet Fitness, he doesn't need to shave in the women's room.
Right.
He wants to shave in the women's room because it's what satisfies his sexual fetishes. Like, I'm telling you, this man is going home and
you might be
doing things that he remembers what he saw. It's disgusting.
You 100% might be right. And I agree with you on the prisons. I mean, for them to put a biological male into a female's prison is mind-blowing. Just absolutely mind-blowing. That has we have reached a society where they think that is acceptable when women are getting impregnated in prison when they're supposed to be safe.
Oh yeah, 100%. They're getting knocked up too. Some of them, the trans, supposedly trans inmate, which is not trans at all, has impregnated 2 different women.
Yeah.
And that's happened several different times with different
And all you gotta
inmates,
do is
but
say you're
yeah,
trans.
have got multiple women pregnant.
What would happen if
Stupid.
what would happen if all the men in prison said, "Oh, we're all trans now"? What happens then?
I'm surprised they haven't.
I'm surprised
Like,
they haven't
why
either.
wouldn't they?
Why? Right?
They get well, some of them you are administered transgender medicine, so some of them probably don't want to take that.
Oh,
but
you have to take hormone therapy if you go to a female.
Yeah, they prescribe you, and that's the other part. That I have another woman here, in a female, Chelsea Freedom. She is on the Nevada board legislation. We were fighting, and our governor that we recently voted in, who is Republican, passed a bill that would allow Medicaid and Medicare to pay for this transgender medicine for inmates. And we were like, are you kidding me? Like, my tax dollars do not need to go towards some wannabe criminal who wants to be trans.
Right.
Like, that's not fair. Like, I'm not paying for that. I am absolutely not paying for that.
So let me ask you, how does the system differentiate between the honest and the dishonest agents?
There is no such thing right now. There's and that's I'm glad you asked that, because what I wanted to touch on too is the general population is getting their first impression of trans people from like mainstream media, like liberal media, because
I agree.
And it's painted that we are the victims, that I'm oppressed. I'm the minority group that's, super oppressed. It's cool to be trans, and if you are trans, you're being eradicated, you're being erased, you're being genocided. I'm just, it's so frustrating that people who don't know the ins and outs and the nuances of the transgender community, whether someone is a drag queen or somebody's just doing it for fun, or somebody lives this full time. Now, there are a lot of trans girls that are younger than me, and they pull it off. They don't stick out like a sore thumb like me. I'm a dying breed as far as kind of turning into a dinosaur out there in the trans community.
Well,
and I get
so much later on in life too.
Yeah. And believe it or not, like, not only do, the trans conservatives and the trans liberals, they will shame me or get down on me because I did transition late. Like, I've literally been told that I should have never transitioned, like that I made a mistake when I transitioned so late in life.
And why is that for them to decide?
It's not, but they're young and they have youth on their side, so they pass. So a lot of them look just like a female. Most women wouldn't even be able to look at them and tell. Sure. And I applaud them, and I'm jealous, but it doesn't change how I go about my daily life. I'm not going to change myself for nobody.
You have to be happy in how you go about your life. You have no, again, I'm not against people pursuing their happiness. This is where like me and like Andrew Wilson would completely disagree, right? Because Andrew is just against, he's just, I hate to use the word bigot, but he kind of is. I mean, I don't know what else to. He probably wouldn't even think that would be a pejorative to him, because he is against. He doesn't even think, he thinks being gay is like something evil to God or something like that, and that's just like so mind blowing to me, because if there is an actual God, I don't think he gives a crap about somebody being gay or not, because that's just biology,
Yeah. And I agree with you, but then here we go. If we go down that road, these progressives are now saying, I just got this one thrown at me the other day, trans people have been around for centuries and
That's
years before I'm like, whatever, like
I miss a lot of gay people being told they're trans and convincing them at a very young age. That's what I believe.
I look back and I miss the 80s when it was gender bending.
Yeah.
Like, I miss David Bowie, Annie Lennox, like Annie Lennox. She was a girl that looked like a dude sometimes. Like, I loved her. And David Bowie, he was my hero. Like, he looked hotter than most women, but
they weren't Iggy Pop even.
Prince, all of them.
Prince, yeah.
Yeah. And just,
you can imagine nowadays,
they could dress 100% feminine,
right? But imagine Liberace. Imagine nowadays they're all being told they're trans, and all the medical stuff being done to them, rather than just let them live their lives.
Yeah, it's scary. Like, I'm hopefully we'll get things changed around in the upcoming year. So
Do you think so? I mean, like, do you think they're getting the message? Like Planet Fitness, even though they've lost or not, they're doubling and tripling down. They were losing memberships left and right. Bud Light is still recuperating, even though they're getting some money from other beers that they sell. I know that Stella makes a lot of money for them, and they have a few other flagship beers. But I mean, to lose 1.4 billion has got to hurt. But they don't seem to care. I know that the VP
and you said Planet Fitness has lost 4 billion already,
400 million,
or
400 million.
400 million. So they're not in the billions yet.
Not yet, but I mean, these are big companies, right? But
I hope
it still hurts. But the fact is that they're catering to a very small minority and not listening to the people that are their main constituents. And so, you know, Planet Fitness might go 100%. Well, they already are 100%, you know, liberal and woke. And then people just need to decide: is this the place I want to go? If I have a 12-year-old daughter, do I want to bring my daughter to this facility? You know, and as a parent, I would never bring my daughter to that kind of facility. Hell no.
Right. Yeah, no. And I said this with Bud Light too, and I feel bad if this does happen to Planet Fitness. I hope it does, because these people need to learn, and then other businesses can learn from them for failing. But if almost everybody cancels their membership, and I start seeing Planet Fitnesses going out of business, I'm going to be like,
that won't happen.
Yes,
yeah, these are too big companies.
But I said this with Bud Light. Like, do you know how many Americans are now going to be unemployed because of this? So
it sucks. It sucks.
This ripple effect that these trans activists are creating, they don't realize they're costing people jobs. Like Dylan Mulvaney. I said his name. I hate saying that guy's name.
I know.
I usually say DM. So he costs, you know, if Bud Light had to start laying people off, he would have cost 1 million people their jobs. And I'm not okay with that.
But that's what happens when you're a narcissist. They don't care. Mulvaney doesn't care. Mulvaney's about Mulvaney.
No, he doesn't. But my identity doesn't need to be the cause of the root of all evil, you know, and that's how people see me, you know. And again, not to make it about me, but eventually I'm, you know, every day I'm in the grocery store or whatever, and I don't want people looking at me going, "Oh, that's one of those people that, you know, supports Nike and you know, Planet Fitness, or they probably work out at Planet Fitness." So you said this earlier, it is these bad faith actors, like this guy in the bathroom shaving makes me look like an asshole. Like literally, you know, people start to conflate him with me.
Yeah.
And what am I, you know? So I hope Planet Fitness goes out of business.
They
like
won't.
They need a lesson.
The problem is this. Okay, so the money they've lost is just in a market evaluation, and that's just how the brand is evaluated, right? They look at different things like the size of the company,
Sure.
cash on hand, customer trends. They look at they look at a lot of different factors, and they say, okay, based upon these evaluations, what is this company worth? And the evaluation took a $400 million dive. The Bud Light took a 1.4 billion, which is a huge amount of evaluation. Any company for 1.4 billion. That just means that they're evaluated much less. And as you said, they are putting, you know, other people out of work because they're shutting down some of the factories, but they're reopening, I guess, for other types of beers. Because again, Anheuser-Busch is a big company. They have a lot of beers they produce, right?
Well. And they just struck a deal with the UFC. Elon Musk is talking back with Bud Light and has actually put some feelers out there saying, hey, should we give Bud Light a second chance? There's another big company too. UFC, Elon Musk, and somebody else was like, you know what? Let's give Bud Light another chance. They've cut ties with
like
Dylan.
Bud Light, and for I just want to like simple beer. I don't do boycotts very much, but I don't drink beer that much. I don't drink at all, hardly, barely any.
I've boycotted. There's this whole trans movement thing has cost me 3 companies that I used to support: Doritos, Hershey's, and Nike. I do not buy any more of those products anymore. Those 3 products, because Hershey's supported.
I totally respect that. Yeah.
The Hershey's of Canada. Yeah, they put a trans girl in charge of their women's division and said, this is the new face of women. She, and they made the candy bar that says her and then she, like pronouns.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I quit buying Hershey's products, and I used to love Kit Kats and Hershey stuff. And so now Doritos is sponsoring a pedophile, literally, like I think a person who was convicted of pedophilia, and this is over in Brazil or
Why
some
though?
other
What
country.
benefit do they have? I mean, again, why are they catering to I mean, the community, the trans community is like less than what, 0.01%. It's a very, very small percentage. What is the
It's growing, but
it's yeah, but fine. But what is the advantage? Unless the only thing I can think of is they have people in very high power, you know, that are making these decisions.
Well, part of me thinks that, not to cut you off, but like
fine.
what Andrew Wilson said has to do with this a little bit. So if I want to put my aluminum hat on and say that the government and all these companies that are supported by government funding, the DEI, and eventually they will dwindle the population down, and this is the road to that. Everybody's gay, everybody's trans.
Look,
there is going to be less people on the planet, and Elon's freaking out about it. He's like, we need more humans. You guys need to stop being, you know,
I will even go more
having homosexual relationships.
Jessica, I'll even go more conspiratorial than that. Again, sandbox this. This is just hypothetical. Okay, hypothetical. So make it very clear to
I don't like your guys' hypothetical. I hate these. But go ahead, let me hear it.
But it does seem like they're trying to sterilize trans people to get them out of the population.
100%. They're going to eliminate.
So it's not that conspiratorial then.
Well, I mean,
it is. But
nobody's come out and said it.
But a lot of people come out and said it. A lot of people come out and said that.
Well, like the World Health Organization. Yeah, no, the WHO and WPATH, they've all said, you know, we need less people on the planet and we need to start eating plastic bugs. And so they want less people. And this is the low key way of doing that. Like, get everybody trans, put everybody on hormones and puberty blockers, and then everybody's sterile, and we don't
I feel like
nobody will have any more kids.
This is like a Joe Rogan conspiracy type thing, right? Joe Rogan,
it kind of, in my opinion, that's a very long way around, you know, lessening the population of the world. Like that's the long game, right? So, I mean, a short game is too obvious, where it's just, you know, the COVID thing didn't work, or it maybe eliminated some people, but it was that, you know, part of the process of elimination of, you know, too many people on the planet.
Do you think there's a people in power that are making these huge decisions that are affecting people, you know, overall in real life like that?
Yes, I do, but my mind struggles with, why do they want less people to control? Like, they want everybody controlled and sterile and afraid and oppressed and victims, so that they can swoop in and say, we got you.
Yeah, the government's good.
We're going to protect you.
They love to do that, right?
We're going to protect you, and we got you right here.
Yeah, put them in power. Absolutely.
And keeps them in power. And then the people who trust them, because they were rescued by the government, because they were oppressed and they were victims. And then the government said, we'll protect you. These people are bad. So yeah, there's a lot of that, but I'm trying to figure out, like, why do you want less people on the planet? Don't you want more tax dollars? Don't you want more votes? Don't you want the, you know, here you are.
Look at the people pushing it though. It's the radical Christian right wing who wants, you know, that don't want people to be gay or trans anyways. And if they can eliminate them all, they can make them all sterile and just, you know, it's basically, and I hate to use the word, you know, the G word, but it kind of is like they're just trying to eliminate all the transgender people and all the gay people by going, you know what, we're gonna say you're transgender and sterilize you and put you through all these medical procedures. I hate to say it because it does sound conspiratorial, but I don't have any other explanation of why they're going out of their way to harm these kids like this. There's no
but you
reason.
think it's the Christians that are doing that? Because I would say it's because I don't.
Well, who's in power?
I don't see how those two.
Because it's the radical Christian right that's in power. Look at the people in the government. There are some radical Christians out there.
Yeah, but they're all, you know, Democrats, I thought. But you know, maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's mostly Republicans. You know, it could be both. Right. I mean, there's Democrats that are Christian too. So, you know, I believe in horseshoe theory. I think the right and the left are the same group anymore. I don't notice much distinction.
They pretty much are.
Yeah.
And, you know, so yeah, I don't like being confused with a drag queen or a cross-dresser or even a sex worker who gets, you know, plastered all over the news because this trans girl who was a sex worker gets murdered because she was doing sex work in a bad neighborhood, and you know, things went south. Well, that she's put herself in that position, and I'll, you know, pronoun her correctly, and she probably is trans. We have a lot of trans sex workers here in Vegas. I know 100 of them, you know, but you know, it's not right that the media portrays them as me and we're all the same. You know, I'm not that sex worker that's found in the gutter, you know,
because it's easier to compartmentalize,
you know, and
that way. I think a lot of people just throw people in the same groups.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
And I keep telling people they're not the same
I
group.
don't. Yeah, and I don't want this guy at Planet Fitness being identified as a trans person. And you know, so far, I think I read as much as I can, but it's all just like
I've seen nothing
more about let's boycott.
I've seen nothing to say he's trans. You know,
he's not. They absolutely.
So what do you think is the solution? If you were Planet Fitness, what would you do? What would you do if you were in charge of Planet Fitness? Like, and by the way, this has been going on for a year at Bud Light, and I told people this was not going to go away anytime soon. I was right on that. I said it was a horrible decision. I had people block me, and I even had blocked people that I cared about because they kept saying I was transphobic for telling them the facts that Bud Light is going to have significant losses over this, and it's going to take a long time for the recovery.
I wasn't sure what you were talking about.
Yeah, no.
So
what would
immediately
you do
I would. If I was the Planet Fitness CEO, I would say, I would just make it would maybe cost some money, but I think they could reconfigure some of their locker rooms to be third sex or gender. You know, they would have to give you a women's. I want a women's only, a men's only, and a unisex.
I don't see a problem with that. That's inclusivity to me.
And that way,
but some idiots will be like, well, that's separate but equal kind of thing. No, it's not. That's not separate but equal. Here's the thing. I don't.
A funny story.
Yeah, real quick. I don't have. And this is my belief. Because I believe in freedoms, right? I believe in First Amendment. I believe in freedom of expression. But I don't have to have the same mindset as somebody else, right? Somebody who believes that they should be able to use the whatever bathroom. I don't have to agree with that. If this guy thinks that he has the right to use the female bathroom because he just says he's gay or whatever, he's, like I said, not even trans, I don't have to agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't have to, right? I can say, look, there's a problem here because there are people taking advantage of this. This allows a third bathroom where anybody can go use where they don't have to worry about it. That's your choice, or single use bathrooms or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, they can do.
I don't understand. This is not a fixable problem.
I know one gym I used to belong to. I can't remember the name, but they had single-use stalls and single-use changing rooms, single-use everything. It takes up a lot of space, and I get that, but
it's worth it.
They can do either gender neutral. They can label it as family.
Yes.
They can label it however they want,
right.
But that needs to happen. I don't care who you are, and women need their own spaces. Now, my problem is that I do have trans women friends who do pass as female, and I do not want them in the men's room. And that's where we run into that problem, where I was talking about, like Blair talks about this a lot, self-perception and being self-aware of how you are perceived. That's so important. And Blair was kicked out of a restaurant for using the men's room. She said, all right, you guys want to bitch at me and say, stop using the women's room? Okay, I'll go in the men's. She went in the men's, and guy went in, front desk complaints, there's a girl in the men's bathroom. So what do we do with those trans girls who do pass 100%?
Blair's very passable. That is true. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Back in our day in the 80s, nobody cared. I mean, again, people were like, women all the time would use the men's. If you remember back, women who have long lines, generally speaking.
the lines. And so when they still do.
When I saw women use the men's bathroom because the line long, I don't give a shit. I don't care, because again, nobody was taking advantage of these things until recently. Maybe very, very few. But those people got arrested for it, right? There was ramifications. Now there's no ramifications, and people are taking advantage of that. And that I think is a problem. That's why I think where the system changes, when people stop being held accountable for their behaviors.
Yes, it is. It has changed a lot, and a lot of people are saying that you can't, or that they'll throw it at me like it's illegal, or people that are advocating for someone like me to use the women's room. They're like, well, it's illegal to commit that act of SA in a women's room anyway, so they're not going to do it. I'm like, it's not that. It's the people, the bad faith actors that are just doing the wig and the makeup just to get access, you know, and that's who we're trying to prevent.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the proper trans people who've put the effort in, who have done the work, they're the ones that are getting the knock on the head for it because they look bad. Like Blair, like she's passable, so it doesn't matter. But people, I hate to make it about myself, but I'm the one who's going to get punished for it because I'm an honest person. Like everybody who's watched my YouTube videos,
I respect your honesty.
They all say, you know, I get so many comments on that Jubilee video still to this day. Like, oh, I just saw you on the Jubilee video and you're such a woman. Like you,
that's why I reached out to you in the first place,
women's room
literally.
Yeah. Everybody's like, you were so welcome in the women's room. Like you give off feminine energy and, you know, that's not always the case, but, you know, I mean, I try and I'm genuine. This is how I am in real life. Like I work in the hospitality industry in Las Vegas. We have 43 million people visit my city every year, 43 billion people. And all I do is work with people and I am nice. I am friendly, but I've walked in the women's room and seen that it's uncomfortable. I'm like, ooh, I should leave. You know, this was not recently, trust me. I would never do that now. But 6 years ago, I had, you know, my girlfriends, I said this on the Jubilee thing, drag me into the women's room because I'm like, no, I'll just go over here. And they're like, no, girl, you belong with us. You're fine. I'm like, yeah, but that girl over there is staring at me like I'm a zombie. So I'm not making her comfortable. So that makes me uncomfortable. And I don't want to.
And that's admirable.
I don't want to create that. You know, when somebody else is uncomfortable and I sense that, I'm an empath. So I can't handle that. I can't handle that myself. So I will leave that situation. Always. And that's why another reason that people get down on me because of the late transition, and there's a few people who absolutely despise this, people who transition late like me that have kids. No, I didn't transition. Like I was always like this, and my family knew. I just didn't change my lifestyle with it until my daughter was of age and she was old enough to, you know, get a job and she was on her own. So people say that late transitioners like me abandon their kids. Now, that's a big fight with a lot of the younger trans people that don't like me because I'm older, and we get in fights about that a lot. I didn't abandon my child. You know, I was there with her until, you know, I still am. We still talk. So, you know, she was, I think, 16 or something like that. But yeah, it wasn't like she was a 3-year-old
right,
and I just up and said, you know, because we have trans widows and there's a big group. There's a Wildfire on Twitter. She supports me. She's a trans widow and she absolutely despises everything to do with the trans identity, but we can have an honest conversation. She does videos constantly about how a late transitioner who was married to a woman is literally destroying a family, and you know it looks bad
I think
on me.
I think people have a right to live their lives, but you can't expect somebody else to be with them for that. Like, for example, if a woman got married to a man who transitioned, you know, I don't know if this is true or not. There's these Reddit stories, but somebody had posted something like, I transitioned, I'm trying to convince my wife she's now a lesbian, and the wife's like, no, and so that kind of nonsense is like that puts a damper on things. And if the couple can survive it, great. But you understand, you're in a relationship, and if that person is fundamentally changed, it could affect the dynamic of the relationship, and maybe it's best to go separate ways, right? And by the way, if you remember, I reached out because of the Jubilee thing. People may remember this.
Right.
And by the way, somebody had asked, and we'll take a few quick questions, and we're gonna wrap it up in about 12 minutes because
yeah, we got off topic. My bad.
No, I love that. No, that's what we do here. But my gut is starting to affect me, and I don't want to.
Oh no! Well, I'm happy people are listening. Hi.
So somebody asked me somebody had asked in the live chat what this channel leans. I'm centrist. I don't lean left or right. I've been accused of being left, right, far left. I've been accused of all over the spectrum. Yet I'm about the centrist you can get. I am middle ground person. And you were on the Jubilee Middle Ground episode with Blair White, and I listen to what you had to say, and I thought that you were not given adequate time. I was like, this is the person, this is the voice of reason, this is who I want to hear from. As a voice of hey, how do we fix these things instead of bitching and complaining? How do we fix these things? And yet, nobody on the panel was willing to talk about how do they resolve anything. It's all persecution porn with them.
Yeah, it was just a popularity contest, and I just had this conversation on Twitter not 2 days ago with somebody saying again that you didn't talk enough, Jessica.
You didn't.
And I was like, well, I was raised not to speak over people, and I don't interrupt someone when they're talking. You know, I mean, we do this on our podcast, but that happens. That whole shouting, it was just shouting match. It was a popularity contest. And it was Blossom shouting at everybody about black rights and trans rights.
She was so annoying. I couldn't take it.
You know, there's
I don't know how you dealt with
one thing I said on that. I know there was one time when I was sitting right next to her, and the camera picked it up. It made the final cut, but nobody could hear it. I could hear it because I know I said it at that time, but she's yelling at Blair about something. And I turned to her and I said, why does it always have to be about black? Why do you have, or no, I said, why do you have to put black in front of it? Because it's about, and she snaps back. And I was like, okay, but we're here talking about trans issues.
It had nothing to do with
not
race
racial
whatsoever.
issues.
Exactly.
Nothing. Nobody, I wanted to say this to her so bad. Nobody on this panel cares that you are African-American.
Nobody cared.
Latino. Nobody cared. We are all our own minority. Already we are, dealing with enough crap of our own, let alone to worry about the race of someone, so.
Right.
But yeah, next question. Sorry.
I noticed that as well.
I don't, I think you're more on the right, to be honest with you, but that's.
Yeah, it's so funny.
I tend not to get along with liberals. So.
I think
you and me are great friends. So.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I adore that. I do probably lean more right on certain things, but I got to tell you, I can't stand any conservative in politics. I don't think I can't stand Trump. I know you support Trump, and we would never agree on that. That's fine. But I don't like Biden either, right? I don't like politicians. I don't like career politicians. I don't like the right. I don't like the left. This is why I'm a centrist. But
Trump's not a politician. He's a businessman.
Well, he's a politician now.
For the record, I am only supporting Trump because he fixed the country 4 years ago, and I was working in retail at that time. I never made more commission in the 23 years I worked in the retail industry, the same industry for 23 years. My last 4 years that I worked in that industry, I made the most money ever because people had disposable income, and that directly affected my pocketbook, my checkbook.
It's rough.
And nobody has disposable income. I still work in the hospitality industry.
But do you attribute that to the president or Congress?
Whatever, but whoever's president, like that administration is running the country. I don't care what these stupid. I'm not politically active, so I understand how the House has to pass this, Senate has to pass this, and it's a mix of two, so I get that's how laws are passed. But in my opinion, I only am playing the useful idiot when I look and see the overall. I just look for the end result. What happened? Mm-hmm. This is president, this administration is running the country, this is what happened. This was it was good when Trump was here, and it's bad now.
I think it's bad all over, but that's again, different experiences, right?
To be honest, I would rather have Vivek Ramaswamy in there than Trump, just because it would end a lot of the whole Trump derangement syndrome.
I'd rather have somebody like Gadsad or somebody.
See, I don't even know who that is, but
Gadsad, he's a Israeli pundit on Twitter. Very brilliant guy. He wrote a book called The Mind Virus or something like that.
Is it Portugal, or who's the new president that just turned the whole country around? Portugal or
no, there's one in Ecuador that changed everything around right even after the game.
The Ecuador guy, he wiped the country. No more anything.
Well, because he cracked down on all the crimes, but he also cracked
crime rates down. Transgender identities down. But he also took away. But he also took away personal freedoms. He cracked down a lot of the gang stuff. But I mean, at what cost? And it's a trade-off. I mean, this is what I've always said. You cannot have a society that's 100% free and 100% secure. One is a trade-off of the other. Yeah, I agree. I've said in a video, I would if it means protecting women, I would gladly give up my rights to purchase my medications I probably would still present this way in public. I don't have a choice. I've had too much surgery. But I don't need to be trans if it means women need their own space. Like I would sacrifice that, easily enough.
It's so funny that I actually get flack for I've never identified a feminist. Like you said, it's just weird for me for a guy to say he's a feminist, right? And I've always supported first and second wave feminism, but this third and fourth, oh my God, it went, so far south. But I've always been 100% for women equality, women's rights, what they have now. I mean, the gaps are so insignificant anymore. Women are out there empowered to do everything. As women CEOs, as women, they've broken that glass ceiling that shattered ages ago. And yet I am being labeled because I think women's rights are being trampled upon in sports. It's bizarre to me. As somebody who's always been an ally, I'm getting flack for saying biological women shouldn't have to compete with biological males in sports because there's an unfair advantage there, and I'm evil for saying that. And yet you are evil. I don't. Yeah, it's bizarre. You know what? If they want to label me evil for that, I'm okay with that. I
love it. I'll take it all day. I'll take that evil label all day. If it protects women and children, exactly. Sign me up.
And I'm just gonna run with that. If I'm evil for protecting women and children, then so be it. I have nothing to lose. Because the people that are promoting these types of radical policies, they don't seem to give a damn about anybody but themselves. They don't care about actual trans people like yourself. They don't care about women. They don't care about children. They're promoting a policy for whatever their reasons. And I do think there's money to be made there, especially with the medical profession. Oh my God, they're making bank off these procedures. But
was there another question in your thing?
I don't think there's
other than are you right or left?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I thought you said you had a couple, but
I thought
so to touch on what we were supposed to talk about, the Planet Fitness thing, like will they go out of business? I don't know. If I was running the company, I would invoke, not invoke, but I would make every Planet Fitness have a gender neutral and a men and a women's, and I would enforce it. And unfortunately, right now, there's not enough laws on the books to other than to just say, you guys have to act on your own good faith, your own, morals.
Do you think it's because of the people running the company?
Probably. I hate to think that it's like the NCAA or like the college problem that we're up against with the trans inclusion thing. It's being allowed in college because the government, the current administration has come out and said, if you do not allow trans athletes to compete with the women, we will withhold your funding that you get every year. So are these companies, traded, and is it something that the government has their finger in the pie with on these public companies that dictates that they be diverse, equity, inclusive? Like, I don't know enough behind the scenes to say that the government is kind of like being the puppeteer with companies like Disney and Disney. I mean, obviously Disney's government controlled too, but
Disney's gone full.
Is Planet Fitness part of that group? Like, are they in on some of that government money that the government says, look what I got, but you got to be inclusive, So is that what's going on behind the scenes? I don't know.
But something's wrong with Disney. Their latest what's their latest trailer with the Acolyte or something? Is that what it's called?
Oof, I quit with Disney. Like, that's another product that I don't use. Doritos, Nike, Bud Light, Disney, and Hershey's. And now Planet Fitness, which I don't do the gym thing anyway. Like, I'm self-trained, And
I'm so tired of people not understanding the word woke has multiple different usages. And the term woke way before with Thomas Serra. It was made to do with now what it means as a pejorative. It has nothing to do with
it. Doesn't. Yeah, it never did. And somebody asked me that on Instagram the other day, what's woke mean? And I'm like, well, it came from, the Black American telling his fellow African American, stay woke against white oppression. That was that's literally where it came from.
Yeah. It
was back in the Martin Luther King days, that's what it was for.
Came up with it. Stay woke.
Black people were telling other Black people, pay attention.
And they were right.
Don't fall asleep on Whitey.
They were absolutely right.
Whitey's going to take advantage of you.
They did. Yeah. They were taking advantage of him. Absolutely. Look, yes. I believe it's far better than it ever was, but I still think there's some systemic racism out there. I absolutely.
I don't care. Yeah,
but
these like Charlie Kirk saying there's no racism, and Candace Owens saying there's tons of racism out there today. Like,
I listened to Charlie Kirk and I listened to Candace Owens because I listened to both sides. I mean, I'm equal opportunity.
Oh, did you hear she got fired
from Daily?
Isn't that crazy?
Daily Wire. Yeah, and Ben Shapiro.
The debate is, will she team up with Tucker or not? Or will she? I know she's going to do her own thing, but does she want to team up with Tucker?
Let's talk about the next time because I've been following that. Like I said, I follow a lot. I don't talk about it a lot, but I do follow a lot of these people. I think Candace Owens' position on a lot of things is wrong, but on a few things she is right. She's very well spoken. I give her that. She's a formidable person. But how
she is a turf.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely.
she doesn't. Oh, yeah. She wants to eradicate me with her and Michael Knowles want to get rid of transgenderism together.
Well, he's probably the way worse.
Michael Knowles, Andrew Wilson.
Yeah, they're way worse. And this is why people like put me in that category because you subscribe, you follow them on Twitter. So what? I follow a lot of people on Twitter I don't agree with. Okay.
I do.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trans and I follow both of them.
Who you follow doesn't freaking matter, and if they say something,
I follow Michael Knowles and Matt Walsh on Instagram.
I happen to.
I'm trans.
Yeah, I watched that movie, and what is a woman? But again, just because you follow somebody doesn't mean that you're a pundit of them. And
exactly.
With Ben Shapiro, I agree with him on Israel. I know it's way off topic, but I think he didn't handle the situation with Candace Owens quite properly. But that's
he shouldn't have been so mean to her.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. It was a bad business decision, but that's it. They're beef. But we'll leave that for the next time.
Other than Ben being Jewish, I think she was the only minority they had in their stable.
Probably
not to play the race card, but she was the only minority they had.
I don't know why. I don't know why he handled it the way he did. I don't. And there's internal politics there, of course. But
yeah,
like I said, I'm not a pundit of all of them, any of them. I don't promote any of them. Sometimes they may say something I might agree with, and sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, this person's way off base." But when I listen to Charlie Kirk say there was no racism, or Candace Owens saying there's no racism, I'm like, "Oh, bull.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but that's just wrong." But anyways, I am getting nauseous right now. And I don't want to
as I say, we're time's up.
Yeah, I want to go an hour, and I know my limitations. So anyways, Jessica, thank you for coming on. Always a pleasure. I know we don't keep in touch as much as we should, but I'm going to try to change that. So keep me posted on stuff. And let's talk about this.
Of course.
Maybe the I know that. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
So I got my Betty by time. But yeah, let's table that until next time because I think there's something to be discussed there. But I think that we talked about what we wanted to talk about with Planet Fitness about how to at least fix the problem.
Will they go broke or not?
Nah,
we'll see. Yeah,
they won't. But I'm telling you, I do think that this is having a major effect. I appreciate the fact that you and Riley Gaines and many other people are standing up for what I believe is right, and it has nothing to do with phobias. It has nothing to do with bigotry. There's right and there's wrong. And when people are violating the rights of other people in order to promote their own agendas because of their selfishness, then I'm going to fight against that. And you have been a voice of reason, and I just applaud you for that. I really honestly do. So
thank you. I try.
I'm going to let you go. I'm going to end this. So guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments. And let me just tell you, if you're disparaging to my guests, you will be deleted. The comment will be deleted, won't be responded to, because I don't tolerate that crap. I even had a disclaimer at the beginning of this video. I don't put up with that BS, and I had a few people do that last time. Don't do it, because even if you're somebody that I know, if you're going to come on just to disparage a guest, it's not going to go well for you. Okay, just put it that way.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jessica. Subscribe.
All right, we'll see you later,
and we'll bid you good night at the Non Sequitur Show. Good night. I'm gonna leave the live stream.
Good night.